don't see that as being a safe haven. I think if you're going to beat Twitter, you got to beat it from inside.
Yeah, I mean, trying to get off the major platforms or hide to have a personal conversation. It's fine, but it's not an alternative strategy. I mean, this is a global information war, a guerrilla global information war, according to Marshall McLuhan, and I agree. Is that you have to fight for the platforms. You have to fight for a presence on the platforms. That's where it is. There's no alternative space. You can make them, and as we just saw, they're easily destroyed. It's about influencing the major platforms and getting them to relent on their crackdown, and finding ways to do that. That's hard. You're not going to get that through alternatives. What we saw about the kind of coordination involved, I mean, not only the big companies, but it created a cascade of disconnections that went across. The Parler CEO was talking about his lawyers left him, his text vendor left him, his email vendor left him. It just one after another, and everything disconnects from you. That kind of disconnection, even down to the ISP level, like they're talking about now, trying to enlist the ISPs to start disconnecting political opponents. That has ramifications, well beyond even the political system here. I mean, that was the first time, and first Bitcoin I owned was $1, right? So, I mean, I've been watching that for a long while, and I've tried to work in alternative, decentralized ways. I mean, I worked on the early social networking in 2001, and we built it as a decentralized system, RSS and everything else. So I've been around decentralization for a long time, and this is the first time I really saw the death of Bitcoin, the potential death of Bitcoin, the risk associated with all of these big platforms acting in concert because they think that Bitcoin's involved in terrorist financing or it's being used in XYZ and it's not regulated, it's not controlled, and then it has to be eliminated. And all of these companies are doing this in some part to actually make more money. I mean, for instance, the ISPs start cutting people off because of political reasons, and they're allowed to do that. Well, what's to stop them from starting to charge sites for access to their networks? Like Verizon's been wanting to do this forever, to turn their ISP into a cable system where they're able to charge each of the big sites money for access. And so that's a money making opportunity. It's just like you could hold sites hostage, or they'll be disconnected. It's once you corrupt the system, everything gets corrupted.
There's some really interesting questions here, and I have a question. She's making a statement, but it's a question. Love Deb 33 at 8:47 p.m.
Okay, I got that one.
Okay, so thank you so much, Love Deb 33, for joining us. I'm excited about this. I asked John to do this at the last minute. So Love Deb 33, if you can put that comment up there, John, says
she has two. Will never silence us?
Yes. Can dissent and kind of the open source insurgencies that you've spoken of that align with dissent, right? Can they be silenced?
Yes. Yes. I mean, disconnection is a potent force. It is, like we're saying, that's not the big communication systems. It's everything, and it cascades. I mean, you could build alternative systems. Sure. I mean, you could build alternative communication systems, but it's a guerrilla kind of, Scotch tape and baling wire kind of system. It can't scale. It's not something you're going to have a kind of a large conversation with. It's, you're conversing in the onesies and twosies and small group levels. It's tough, to run on the outside. And I've been watching terrorist networks and insurgents operate forever. It's tough to be outside. It's an uphill battle to even do the simple stuff. And that there's ways around it, but ultimately, you want a place on the major systems. You want those major systems to open up, to relent, and my solution to that is that, the way we get through this without ripping each other apart, without having a hot insurgency operating in the states, is that we force the platforms in particular to accept a kind of a digital constitution with a digital bill of rights that says, okay, if you have a named account, you have rights to speech. And here's the extreme limit. I mean, only in the most extraneous circumstances you're going to be kicked off. And if you violate those, then you'll have some time off, but you will eventually come back.
You suggested that. I saw you on Twitter, with some type of, it wasn't a thread. Maybe if it was a thread, but it was one tweet about that. So, but do you feel that that's kind of this Plato Republic rather than kind of the actual of the world we live in?
No, I mean, it's okay. So if social networking is like a new communication system, it's a new technology. It's rewiring our brains, changing the way we interact. Just the same way that the printing press did, and it launched us into building nation states and building vast global markets and building a science infrastructure and things like that. Well, with this social networking is a piece of it, and it's something that we're going to have to get our arms around and turn it into a useful social decision-making system.